Motorhead stands for something.
Most likely you guys would have been cancelled.
We would be in jail.
Touring under the name of Motorhead.
I'm glad Lemmy doesn't have to experience this.
This would be too much.
Lemmy's turning in his grave.
Kind of knew that it might be his last.
We are Spinal Tap with no script.
Hello, you Metal Pilgrims, and welcome to the new interview episode on the channel. And today I'm more than happy to welcome a legend and one of the people because of whom I personally got into rock and roll and heavy metal back in the day, mighty Mikkey Dee. Mickey, thank you so much for finding time and joining me today. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm getting to go to South America with Scorpions. We start up again now. We had a few months off since the last show we did in Las Vegas. And we have a month in South America, and then we do 2.5 months in Europe. And a lot in the East, actually. A lot from Latvia down to Bulgaria, I believe. So, you know, the whole stretch down.
Yeah, that's awesome. Unfortunately, no Ukraine this year still, but we miss you guys here.
Are you in Ukraine right now?
Yes, I'm in Kyiv.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, by the way, if this gets interrupted by, I have to tell you, by an air raid siren or something like this, I'll be right back. But in a couple of minutes.
How are you guys holding up?
Well, we are holding up as good as we can be here, and I guess just everyone is just doing their part to bring our victory closer, so that we can all, go back to normal lives.
Normal life, yeah.
Go back to rock concerts and stuff like that.
Insane what's happening. So I don't know what to say. I'm sitting here in Sweden, and here it's everything normal and not too far away. You guys are in hell.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I cannot believe something like this would happen in the 21st century. Honestly, I would never have believed that.
Well, we have to cheer us up a little bit with rock and roll, I guess.
Absolutely. And then, there are a couple of things that cheer us up this year. So, Mickey, one of the craziest things for me personally as a huge Motorhead fan is that today, 7 years after, pretty much its end, there's still so much, news around Motorhead. There is new material coming out all the time, which I think is amazing. I am one of those people who still cannot, kind of let Motorhead go. And I don't think that I ever will. So, and, especially with the re-release of Bad Magic, the one you just did now. So first of all, how do you guys, I assume it's you, Phil, and, the label who is coming together and deciding, what to release, but how do you guys come up with those ideas?
Well, see, it's being based, you are exactly right in what you say, and you're not alone with the fact that you don't want to leave Motorhead. Yeah, I mean, Motorhead does not exist anymore as a band, obviously, without Lemmy. And me and Phil and our manager, Todd, and our Motorhead family, if you will, we still try to continue the Motorhead legacy and the Motorhead history, and we want to move Motorhead, keep Motorhead in the loop, basically, And to do that, I mean, we do a lot of press, and we notice all the time that our fans don't really want to, forget about Motorhead or not hearing about Motorhead. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we release the lost tapes, they keep coming out, old recordings, packaging really nice. We do this seriously bad magic with 2 unreleased songs and a live show from Japan, and there's no money in this for us at all. It costs us more than we just do this for our fans, basically, because sometimes I read a lot of not a lot, but I read some comments and people react and go, Lemmy's turning in his grave, you guys are trying to make money on Motorhead and stuff. And that's not true at all. We do this for our real fans to have an option to get something new, to keep Motorhead in the loop. I mean, like I just told you, I'm doing so much interviews for a band that doesn't exist, that says something, We have the front page. I mean, I did Sweden Rock Magazine. It was supposed to be 3 pages. It turned out to be 13 pages. You know, it's half the magazine, you know. So it's great that we can continue talk about Motorhead, pushing Motorhead, releasing some stuff for our fans that like to collect this stuff. And everything we do goes via me and Phil and our manager, Todd. We don't release a bunch of shit to make money because there is no money in this at all. We release this for the fact that we want to continue the Motorhead era.
This is awesome.
And there was a journalist. I did some great podcasts, but some media took some sentence out of a whole conversation on 45 minutes that Mikkey is never playing Motorhead again. That's not what I said at all. We would never replace Lemmy and me and Phil go out as Motorhead. That's what I said. Mm-hmm. We want to play Motorhead tribute. We want to play Motorhead songs with different famous people or non-famous people. I mean, just continue the Motorhead to keep it alive, basically. But we will never, ever go on tour, me and Phil, and have someone else step in and be Lemmy. You know, that's ridiculous.
Yes, this would be too much. I'll be honest with you. As much as I would love to hear the songs,
and we never even thought that. But not a lot, but a few of these idiots out there, they thought that that's the plan or whatever. But that's not the plan at all. We just want to release and continue the Motorhead legend and the Motorhead era, and talk about Motorhead and play some Motorhead, and you know, that's why we released this stuff. And Bad Magic was the last record we did. We recorded live. It was a special feeling about that record. Why, I don't know. We all kind of knew that this might be the last one that we do. And so it's great that we can add a few songs to it, make a great package, the live show from Japan, and release it again. Because there's a lot of young people that never got to see Motorhead, and they have not really followed Motorhead maybe the way you have, and a lot of our true fans. So this is a opportunity for them to get into it. You know, maybe we can catch them with this and they start going back on records, you know, I don't know, but that's what we try to do.
And you started speaking about how you kind of knew that it might be the last record you guys released together. So talking about this last newly re-released song, Greedy Bastards, which pretty much is an alternative lyric version of Till the End, which has actually made it on the album. And as far as I know, the original intention was to include Greedy Bastards on the album, but still Till the End made it there, which is a very, you know, prophetic and a self-reflectant song, you know, for Lemmy. So do you think that it could have been because Lemmy kind of knew that it might be his last studio album, that he wanted to include the song with these lyrics on the record?
No, I don't think so. Nobody thought really that this is the last record. We had we put in so much energy to this album, and obviously Lemmy didn't feel 100% all the time, you know? So he had to work really, really hard. If me and Phil put in 120%, Lemmy had to put in 250% to even to get there. But he did an amazing job. You know, I wouldn't call it a job. He did an amazing. He played great. He sang great, and he was in studio every second. He wouldn't miss anything. I can't speak for Lemmy what he was thinking at the time, but I don't know. But I had a feeling that it will definitely be one of the last records, maybe, because we could see the beginning of the end, maybe a little bit, you know, because Lemmy was struggling. There was no secret about that. And we were hoping that it wasn't the deal. But once we finished the album, we were all very satisfied, and we couldn't wait to get back on the road and touring, because that's where we belong. And Lemmy got better, and then he got worse, and then he got better. So he was going from good to bad, kind of. Mostly it was good. He was struggling, but you couldn't really notice, But me and Phil, that lived so close to Lemmy, and we've been friends for so long, we could see that he had a hard time,
Yeah, I can imagine. But I have a feeling, and I had a chance of meeting Lemmy and like you back in the day, but I always had a feeling that Lemmy is, if he was struggling, he wouldn't be the one to put it out there and share it,
No. He was the opposite. Me and Phil were trying to get him to go home, and we should postpone some of the touring, parts of the tour. And I said to Lemmy, go home and rest, and we don't have to do this leg of the tour right now. We could postpone that. And our fans would definitely understand that we had to do that. But Lemmy said, no. We continue touring. He was going to tour. He just didn't want to drop that at all. And then me and Phil said, you know what? Instead of arguing with Lemmy or, try to push him to break the tour that we were going to break, we said, fuck it. Let's help him instead, to our best ability. We had to slow down some of the songs live. We had to maybe remove a couple of songs. We added some songs that were maybe a little bit easier to sing. Killed by Death, for instance, has so much vocal that he could barely breathe. So we said, all right, we take that out for a while, and we might bring it back in a couple of months. We had to collaborate and try to piece the show together to the best ability for Lemmy as well, But once we did that, he was kicking ass, and we did fine. So
that is amazing, and that's rock and roll, and that's why Lemmy is a legend, and everyone.
Well, I don't want to say anything bad about any other artist, but in the same time frame, I remember Justin Bieber got some water on his foot on stage, and he canceled the show. And here you have Lemmy, he's basically dying, and he refused to leave the stage, so.
And he could have used backing vocals pretty easily as well.
Well, there's a perspective for you, so.
But back to the good stuff. Mikkey, how much more unreleased material do you still have in the vaults of Motorhead?
Not much.
But you have some.
I am not too sure what we have and don't have, because each record that we did, I can tell you this, that we never wrote a lot of extra songs for any album, because we released the record almost every other year.
Yeah.
So when we wrote 11, 12, 13 songs for a record, we were done. We recorded that, made a record, released it, and we were moving forward to going back on the road. And we knew that a year and a half from now, we're going to be starting another record. So we did not on purpose. We didn't have the energy, and we were not motivated to stay in the studio and keep writing and writing and writing. I mean, a lot of bands, they make a record every 4 or 5 years, and then they might do 20 songs for a record. But in 5 years, we almost released 3 records. So we did 30 songs plus 35 songs. So I'm sure that we do have some stuff lying around, but I don't know how much or what it is, because some of these recordings are from so many years back that I don't know what we decided on, some of these older records. I really don't.
And going back to what you said earlier about never touring under the name of Motorhead, which I, as a Motorhead fan, very much appreciated. And, as a fan who actually was able to, back in the day, go around the world and follow you guys, saw you guys on, multiple continents and many, many countries. But still, in 2 years, there are a bunch of anniversaries coming for Motorhead. I mean, it would be 10 years since Lemmy's passing, which, by the way, I cannot believe it's been 10 years already. Lemmy would have been 80 that year, and Motorhead, is turning 50. So do you guys, and I know it might be far ahead, but such things have to be planned kind of far ahead, but do you guys plan on doing some, massive tribute concert with, biggest Motorhead fans, like, I don't know, Metallica, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and bands like these?
I can tell you that is absolutely what we would like to do.
Okay.
The planning, it's not, I mean, it's in the plans, but we don't have anything conclusive yet with whom or where or what. But we definitely want to do something. And personally, this is me talking. I think it's great that we waited for a while. You know what I mean? We have to do this with the best taste and the biggest respect ever. That's what we have to do. So I didn't want to see Lemmy go in the grave and then 1 year later we're out there playing Motorhead and pretending that everything is okay, because it's not okay, I wanted to leave some years between Lemmy's passing and when you can go out and kind of promote Motorhead as a band, but not be in Motorhead, obviously, but to continue. And meanwhile, we try to do this kind of stuff just to keep us in the loop and to prolong Lemmy's dream, because he wanted Motorhead to live forever, and that's what we try to help out with, I'm sure that we will do something more spectacular in the next few years ahead of us. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm sure there are a lot of great bands who would love to do that, especially since Lemmy and Motorhead, and not only Lemmy, past Motorhead members as well, had such an influence on the world of rock and roll and just heavy metal community worldwide, that I'm sure that there are a lot of bands who would absolutely love to honor Lemmy and Motorhead, especially if it's for a good cause or something.
That's like, for instance, last summer when they put up this amazing statue at the Hellfest. I mean, I think it was 16 meters high, It took 2 trucks to take it to the festival sites, and parts of Lemmy's ashes is there forever, So these kind of things is great, and that carries a lot of respect. And as me and Phil said on stage, that Lemmy's now here forever, listening to all your fucking bands playing from now on. Because the festival sites is where he felt most at home, on the road, at the venues. Either it was our show or it was festivals. He loved it, and that was his life. So we would love to help him prolong this, and maybe some other festivals. I mean, our goal is maybe Rock in Rio would put a statue up, and Wacken will put a statue up. Maybe one in Poland, one in Germany, one in Italy, one in Australia, one in Japan, everywhere. One in Ukraine, a big Lemmy statue. Maybe people would love to look at that. I don't know. You have a lot of statues in Kiev. I know that.
Yeah.
Statues everywhere. So why not a Lemmy statue? But at a great festival, it should be. And I think it's a great way of honoring someone,
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you guys with Scorpions did a great job playing a couple of songs in the past and honoring Motorhead. And talking about that, back in the day when it's been what 6 years now that you're in Scorpions, right? Or something? Oh my God, 6 years. So when you joined them, and I have to say that I love Scorpions. I've seen them, live several times before you joined the band, and then I saw them after you did. And I have to say that the band sounded like it got basically a kick in the butt. You guys sounded faster, more aggressive. It sounded, just heavier in general. And I think, I think it was amazing. So, did it feel weird for you to pretty much, start anew when you were what, like 52 back then?
No, it doesn't, because I knew the guys before, obviously a little bit, and it feels great to join an older band. They know what they're doing. They have so much routine. They're really nice guys, and it feels great for me to come in and make a difference if I can, And I told the guys, I said, I'd like to motorize Scorpions. Let's put in some heaviness and tightness, and I don't want to sit behind the drums and just follow a band. Mm-hmm. I like to make a difference. Same way I did with Motorhead, because they were a mess when I joined the band. I mean, they were not good, I have to say, because they were all over the place. I think I said to Lemmy and Phil and Versal, Motorhead has to sound shitty good, not shitty. And we should sound shitty, but it has to be good shitty, And same thing there. They kicked me in the butt, and I kicked them in the butt. And I feel that we're doing the same way with Scorpions. I'm being very inspired by these guys. Mm-hmm. And I hope that they are inspired by me, bringing in some energy into it, So it's a good collaboration with each other. And we all love each other and have a great time on stage and off stage. So it's all good there, It could be a band where they don't like me so much, or I don't like him, or I don't like them, but that's not the case at all here. We just are one fist forward in the same direction, and I think that came out on the new album, mm-hmm. Rock Believer, as well, because it's also recorded live, and great feeling. Unfortunately, in these depressive COVID days, But that gave us a chance to really work on the record, because not a lot of bands record live anymore. It takes too long, it's too expensive, and too complicated sometimes. But we love to do it, and now we did it. We're all played in the studio together, so you get that special feeling. This is a band playing, And we even changed our production now, so we're all more together on stage. And it's so much better and so much harder, so much tighter. Klaus singing better than ever. Matthias Rudolph are kicking ass on stage. And Pavel and me are really getting tight together. So I think it's a good thing. It looks good and it feels great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And from what I've seen online, and as you know, I wasn't able to get you guys on the road this year, unfortunately. But, from what I've seen online, it sounds just kick-ass.
It is a spectacular show right now. It's a great show. And everyone's playing really good, as I said. And then on top of that, we have a very well-fitted production into what we are doing right now, It goes hand in hand. I thought the older production was not really with us the way this is. It looked great, but it was much more stiffer in a way. Mm-hmm. Now we got a warmer production. It's more a band feeling on stage. Mm-hmm. We didn't scale it down. We actually scaled it up, but it looks more compressed and much more happening somehow. I don't know. So
Well,
I'm very satisfied with what we're doing. And that's the same thing we're going to go touring on this year as well. So
you mentioned that when you joined Motorhead, the boys were, pretty much a mess, and that was a transition phase for Motorhead.
well, the mess is a wrong word, but
Yeah.
Motorhead was leaning back in a nice chair like this and enjoying the ride. That's how I felt it.
Okay.
And in this business, you can't really do that. You can do it at small portions, enjoy the ride, but you have to work super hard all the time.
Especially when you joined Motorhead, with everything that was going on with rock music back then, with the rise of grunge, with the rise of everything else.
Tough times. And with Motorhead, we really had to reestablish the band in a way. The older was out, and now it's a new era with me. Mm-hmm. I was writing music. We were going to change the music. We were going to look different on stage. We had to get our fans' approval to this. We had to earn the trust of our fans, and that demands a lot of work. You cannot sit and go, yeah, Motorhead is a big band and we're going to do fine. We don't need to rehearse. And if you don't like it, well, it's fine because we are okay. No. We had to really get back to the drawing table, get used to each other, start playing better together, and create some good shit. Not shit.
Yeah. Well, you did. And I think this is actually the best way to describe how Motorhead should actually sound, shitty but good.
I think we took a step up.
That's
we brought in Howard Benson to produce.
Yeah.
Bastards, Sacrifice, Overnight Sensation, and the next one, what's it called?
The Snakebite Love.
Yeah, the fourth record he did with us. And
it was for
we brought Cameron Webb. We took another step up, I'd say, for the last 6 records we did, or 5 records. And they were just straight up, quality-wise, performance-wise, and overall feeling-wise, songwriting-wise as well. So I always wanted to move forward. We all did. We didn't want to take 3 steps. We wanted to take half a step or 1 step. That's enough. We never wanted to rush and run away with something because we had a very tight framework to work within with Motorhead. We could not experiment too much with the music and stuff. Sometime me and Phil wrote music that was definitely not Motorhead. It was great songs, but it wasn't Motorhead. It might have been a song that Rush would play, or Dream Theater. and Lemmy came in and said, what the fuck is this? We were over creating stuff sometimes. And at the same time, Lemmy could write some Buddy Holly songs and only 12 bars. So we said, look, we don't want to make another American Graffiti album. So we had to get back to here is Motorhead, and that's what we should write. We should write the same album again, but a different album, because that's what Motorhead is. It's black and white, fist in your face, rock and roll. And that's the hardest way of writing music, because you are limited to how far you can stretch, because your body and soul wants to maybe experiment a little bit and stretch the lines on a new record and get inspired musically or mentally of something else. But at the same time, you have to hold back and go, no. That's not Motorhead. This is not Motorhead. This is Motorhead. And to move forward with those limits on you, it's very, very hard. Because it feels like you're standing still. You're writing the same stuff all the time. So how do you make a new record to move a little bit forward every time? That is tough, but I think that we managed to do that. We took Motorhead half a step, one step ahead with every record that we did. And I'm very proud of that. And I know Lemmy was. And by the time we came to where we brought in Cameron Webb, we were kind of not tired, but we couldn't get the inspiration to take that step. And then Cameron came in and helped us in the right way. He came in and pushed us as musicians and helped us with our vision, you know. He did not come in and say, I know how Motorhead is going to sound, because then he would have been fired immediately. No, Cameron, we know how Motorhead's going to sound. You're going to help us sound Motorhead, you know. So it was a great, great collaboration together with Cameron. And Cameron still to this day do all the mixing with these lost tapes, and he's in charge basically of what we should do and not do, you know. We take all the advice from Cameron.
This is awesome, man. This is
so
awesome.
He's a great part of the Motorhead family.
This is amazing. It's very inspiring, and I just hope that we'll get to hear some more lost tapes in the future, because I think it's a jam. I know, as you said, you know, yeah, there are some people who don't like it, but I'm one of those fans who always thinks, you know, you don't like it, you don't buy it.
Gives people an option to get it. And if you hate it so much, well, stop listening to us overall, you know. Go back and listen to the first records and just leave us alone, you know. That's good with us too. Because we are picking up younger generation with some of this stuff, you know. And of course, we're not a band anymore. We are not a band without Lemmy. But Motorhead is still alive, you know. It's still boiling. And we still try to continue, as I said now several times, to move Motorhead legend forward and to keep us above the waterline, you know?
And if you see how many, you know, younger kids who are, I don't know, 18 or something like that, who I'm sure, unfortunately, were not able to see Motorhead live, but who are coming to the concerts in Motorhead t-shirts, you know, to other bands' concerts these days, today, you know, the amount is incredible. It's
Motorhead stands for something. It stands for attitude. It stands for realness. It stands for respect. It stands for a lot of things that I think more people should get into. And I said, if everybody was like Lemmy, for instance, we wouldn't have a war in the world, you know? Everybody would be so much better off with common sense and you know, yeah, he was such a great man, you know, with his way of thinking and his philosophy, you know, it was great. So yeah, he was a huge guy.
Well, Mikkey, I can keep you here forever, as you know that already. But I guess there is a time limit to these things, at least so people tell me. But as a way to close this, can you share just one craziest story which happened to you on Motorhead on the road that you legally share with us?
That's the hardest question you can ask me, because
you have to.
Motorhead was, like Lemmy used to say, we are Spinal Tap with no script. Because there was shit happening, funny stuff every single day. But you know, I can't just take one. It's too hard because we had so much fun together. And there was so much craziness happening that today sometimes if I'm lying in bed thinking back on certain tours or whatever, and I go, I can't believe that happened, you know. Today it's almost impossible to think because the world has changed so much, you know, with acceptance of everything. I mean, one thing I'm glad Lemmy don't have to experience is this fucking political correctness that I can't stand, you know?
Lemmy would have been most likely canceled today. Most likely you guys would have been canceled today.
Yeah, we would be so off the scale, you know. I mean, to play a joke on someone and then to take a joke from someone, that is life. That's the way it should be. But today you can't say anything really before people freak out over absolutely nothing and no sense of humor at all. So I'm glad Lemmy doesn't have to experience this, because he would be going fucking crazy, because he was a jokester. And with Motorhead, we play jokes on each other all the time and with other people. And we were good sports, and we could take any kind of joke back. So that's how we were. That's why a lot of craziness happened in a very funny way. But thinking about some of this shit, I go, oh my God, if we would do this now, we would be in jail, you know, we would be off this planet, you know. They would put us on the moon, you know, for sure. One funny story, I told it before to the press, but long story short, we were in England, and I had to fly to Sweden for a day. We had 2 days off, and then come back on a show day to Manchester. We played Manchester Apollo, and there's a pub connected to Manchester Apollo venue, and there's pubs all over the place. Mm-hmm. And Phil and Lemmy went out and printed big posters saying that when Mickey finished his drum solo, he don't want any applause or any screams or anything. Please be quiet. Respect Mickey's wish. Only for this show. So when I'm doing my solo, it's dead quiet. I go, you know, 6,000 people are going completely quiet. I couldn't believe it. It was so weird. And they blasted this all over town. And it every club and at the venue, you know. And then made a video, you know, when they open the doors, people run into the front. They want to come as close as possible to the stage. And then when the show is over, people leaving pretty quick, and there's just cups lying on the floor everywhere. Tens and thousands of cups. And they made a video. So when I start my solo, people are running out. And when we start playing again, people running back in. And they made a DVD on that. So, it's funny shit, you know. We did this stuff all the time to each other, you know.
This is awesome. This is awesome, man. Just hearing those stories makes me really, really want to see you guys live one more time. And hopefully that concert we spoke of, you know, with the other bands will happen sometime in the future, and we will get to honor Lemmy and all of the past Motorhead members, you know, one more time. Mickey, thank you so much for joining me today. Any last message for the fans, both old and new?
Old and new. Keep following us and keep listening to Motorhead. That keeps you pretty healthy, I'd say, you know. And read Lemmy's lyrics. They are amazing, and they make so much sense, and they have so much humor in it. And all I can say is I really hope next time we speak that you and your people in Ukraine are in a much better position than we are. And I don't know if you heard that Klaus changed the lyrics. Yeah. For Wind of Change. So we all feel with you, and we do what we can for you. And I hope you will be in much better position, and your people in Ukraine next time we speak.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mickey. On behalf of all Ukrainian rockers and metalheads, thank you so much for all your support. And on behalf of all the Metal Pilgrims, thank you so much for joining us today. This was mighty Mikkey Dee, ladies and gentlemen. Mickey, thank you so much for joining me today. Keep rocking, man.
Ciao.
Right, and then you decided to include the till the end on here it comes, the air nerd siren. Sorry. We have half hour till the rockets, if they fly in here. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as I know, the original, intention was to include the Greedy Bastards on the album.